Very good. Chris, and these gentlemen can attest to this, as preachers, as professional speakers, as such, we spend our lives developing authentic and unique content. And you're in a very innovative space. Revenues are down, but we're still producing content. So my question is, how can that content be leveraged in today's economy with today's new technologies based upon your experience and what you're involved in?
What I've seen so far is that the ministers and preachers spend a lot of time, countless hours on this content, and they do these sermons and they do them once or twice a week, maybe 3 times, and then it just sits there. And a lot of times the churches are already recording a lot of these sermons, and we thought maybe one of the benefits of all this audio and this content would be to be able to get it out on the internet, and through Listen Up audiobooks and Intellect Inspire, we've been able to pool a bunch of our resources and marketing capabilities to be able to put some of these things on the internet for the marketing for more people to be able to actually download these things. We found it's been very successful. In general, there's about 2 million people that download audiobooks, and we found that just through certain resources that some of these people download 7 or more a month. So it's like 14 million people already now. And each church has its own group of followers, and I think that those people would benefit from being able to have that message out there somewhere for them to actually be able to listen to it.
Good, very innovative. Don, you know this, you travel America. Churches own lots of underutilized land. What can churches do to simultaneously monetize that land and at the same time help rebuild their communities?
Well, that's a good point. A lot of churches have tons of property, and speaking in our case, as I said in my church, my pastor wanted to do a community center for the local youth, and he didn't know how to put that deal together. And we sat down and put that together. And I think it ties to the mission and the direction of the leader of the church. What do they want to do in the community? I mean, there's so many things to do in your community, as far as blighted, as far as assisted living, as far as so many opportunities. And I guess what I would do if I had land is I identify what I really want to do for my church, in the community. And then from there, there's all kinds of funds available from private sector to public sector to put those transactions together. I'm working with a national African-American developer called Smoot Construction. All they do is assisted living, facilities. And those are the things that I think that the church would have to identify is what they would like to have. If their church is saturated with youth, then to me a youth center would be huge. Or they may want both, because as people get older in the church, they like to have something on their facility so that they can come to the church and go right down the road on the property to be able to be in assisted living. So it's just a matter of determining your strategy and identifying the partners that you want to get with to erect these opportunities.
Thank you. David, a lot of great entrepreneurial, innovative ideas that are coming forth. What are you seeing in terms of this economy we're in? Where are we going from here?
I wish I had the magic answer that you're looking for, Bishop, because we've been in a very troubled economy for a while, and as I've told a number of people, the way we got into this mess took us probably somewhere between 8 and 10 years. It's not one term of a president or 2 terms of a president. Our manufacturing, our dependence on other countries, and being taken advantage of by the financial institutions put many people into a bankrupt or a bad state. And it's going to take us probably a similar amount of time to recover our economy and put people back on the map and back in homes and get our gross national product up. And you know, another point that Don just brought up that I'd like to capitalize on a little bit, he talked about assisted living, and many people don't realize the tremendous devastation to your portfolio if you happen to need long-term care or assisted living. And in every community, there is just a devastating factor that happens because the cost of assisted living to any individual that doesn't have long-term care or an insurance policy to assist them typically costs them their house. And this is so well seen all over America. And you can prevent that. Everyone believes it's not going to happen to me. You know, we're all protected. We're never going to need that. No one has needed it in my family. But the truth is, when you look at very numerous communities and you see how many folks are out there requiring it, a small investment while they're healthy in a little bit of long-term care insurance or a rider on their life insurance policy could be the difference between them saving their home and having enough funds to live out the rest of their life and their family's life as well. So that's something I think is very important in the community these days.
Sure. There's a connection here. There's a synergy between, you know, having the land, having the facilities, but also educating the people on how to access them, but also, you know, not lose assets, but retain their assets and moving forward. That's how we create the legacies that, you know, we preach about every week. Bishop, how is this conversation, you know,
I think
with you?
you're on track, but I think one thing that maybe pastors who may be watching, it's important, I think, find people within the field, experts. Don't just go out there, you have land and say, well, I'm going to put a project up. You need to do your due diligence, but there's always a way. I had a guy from Africa, and that's what he always says. There's always a way, but you have to find the right way in order to do what it is that you need to do. And there are churches that are really going through right now. And as I travel across the country, and they're barely making mortgage payments and don't recognize that they're sitting on top of a gold mine because they don't think, number one, they're going to qualify. They haven't talked to the right person with the right skills that can help direct them as it relates to the financing. Then their books are not together. And then if I do this, this is going to pull this out. And so they rather lay dormant rather than do something. You're going to ultimately end up becoming a dinosaur. You're going to die, and your ministry will just not, you're just not going to maximize the potential that you could possibly do unless you act on something at some point. So absolutely.
Education has a lot to do with it, and I believe the forum that we're in is great for it, because getting the religious leaders in the community to understand there are alternatives and bringing people into the fold that really can help with that business and treat them fairly, I think will advance everyone greatly.
Very, very good. I mean, there's so many different revenue streams, you know, alternative to the core, tithes and offerings, but something that someone has mentioned here could be relevant.
And I think you better say something about that because, you know, you even look at the job market, everything, if you don't have multiple streams of income, even for yourself personally now, you know, you're going to miss the boat. That's just the bottom line. It's not the 30 years ago, everybody had one type of job and that no, multiple streams of income is the way you need to be thinking in this season.
Very, very good. We never have enough time. We just touched the tip of the iceberg, but I want to thank each of these experts for investing their time, their intellectual currency in this conversation. I want to thank you also for listening and participating in this engaging, interactive conversation on best practices and vetted solutions for repositioning the church with alternative revenue streams to manifest its divine purpose throughout all of culture, just not in the four walls, but all of culture. It's our mandate. So let's occupy the church. Let's occupy until he comes. Occupy our communities, our lives, and our world together. What must we do to navigate the prophetic and challenging journey that is before us? In order to manifest the definitive purpose that God has created for each and every one of us to experience in the earth, we must embrace and do these 5 things. Number 1, adapt the mindset of God. Number 2, we must follow Christ. Number 3, embrace our manifest destiny. Number 4, learn and implement trusted and proven systems in every area of our lives. Number 5, embrace and implement a collective and collaborative roadmap for the church and our communities. To this end, I want to invest into your life. I want to sow a seed of knowledge, understanding, and direction into your mind. For the next 24 hours, I'm giving complimentary, that's free, digital copies of my best-selling book, Your Manifest Destiny, 7.5 Words to Transform Your Future. Work the System by my friend and colleague, Sam Carpenter, and a secret chapter from my upcoming release, Occupy the Church, a prophetic roadmap for the global church. In addition, you can connect directly with the experts that have invested their time with us on today. You have 3 ways to get these best-selling books today. Number 1, go to www.oureconomicdignity.com or scan the QR code that's on the screen, or follow us on Twitter at SolutionsTV. That's at SolutionsTV, and we'll reciprocate with a link for you to get the resources. I also encourage you to advise everyone in your immediate network to do the same. For where you are going, it's critical that people around you have access to the same information and knowledge, particularly if they're going to remain in your inner circle. Take action now. Go to www.oureconomicdignity.com or scan the QR code that's on the screen, or follow us on Twitter at SolutionsTV. Again, thank you for investing your time in viewing this interactive conversation on best practices and solutions for repositioning ourselves to manifest our definitive purpose in the earth and beyond. It's our collective mandate. Until next week, remember, a mind without barriers creates ideas without limitations. What barriers are you allowing to limit you? Pastors, let me speak directly to you and your leaders for a moment. Our communities of faith and our neighborhoods are in chaos and crisis. When the real estate, stock market, private debt, and consumer spending markets crashed in America, it facilitated a quote-unquote church market crash as well. No one is talking about it. There was no stimulus, there was no bailout or policy created for the kingdom. In honesty and transparency, the kingdom of God shouldn't operate in reaction to man's economic markets, but should proactively influence them and engage them. We must do it ourselves. We must take the lead. We must take action to ensure the sustainability of our ministries, causes, and definitive purpose. Do we have all of the answers? No. Yet, God has given us a prophetic glimpse of what's to come and how to strategically prepare for the future of your churches and our expansion into the marketplace and every relevant sector of modern day society. To this end, I want to invest into you, your community, and your church. I will come at no cost to you, to your church. Let's plan an economic dignity weekend together. Let's plan a prophetic solutions weekend together. Call my office at 404-995-7094 or online at www.oureconomicdignity.com. That's 404-995-7094 or online at www.oureconomicdignity.com.